thing. I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know
he just got knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends, all this shit, but I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo. I will beat a lot of people. I will not beat David Benavidez.
The boxing world is buzzing once again, and the reason is none other than Jake Paul. He's been making headlines non-stop, and this time is no different. Fresh off his fight with Mike Tyson, Paul has decided to take things to the next level by calling out two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is one of the biggest names in boxing. A 2012 Olympic gold medalist, he has held multiple heavyweight titles, including the WBA, IBF, WBO, and IBO belts, with knockout wins over legends like Vladimir Klitschko, Joseph Parker, and Alexander Povetkin. Joshua has cemented himself as one of the sport's most dominant forces. So did Jake Paul lose his mind when calling out Anthony Joshua? We may never know, but he's certainly no stranger to bold statements. Known for his eccentric ways, first in the YouTube world and now in boxing, Paul continues to make headlines, and his wildest takes often come from his podcast, BS with Jake Paul.
August, I'm back, baby.
In a recent exclusive clip, Paul wasted no time making his intentions clear. "I want to fight Anthony Joshua," he declared, jumping straight to the point. He then doubled down on his confidence, stating, "Because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know I will knock him out, right?" But he didn't stop there. Paul wanted to prove why he believes he has the upper hand. He went on to list Joshua's 3 biggest weaknesses, saying, "He doesn't have a chin, he has no skill, and he's stiff." Despite the harsh words, Paul insisted this wasn't personal. "And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this side," he added, acknowledging their off-camera friendship. But at the end of the day, that wouldn't stop him from wanting the fight. "But I want to fight you." And when has Jake ever been the type to stop, right? After calling out Anthony Joshua, he took it a step further, confidently claiming he could dominate other top boxers, including Canelo Alvarez. "I will beat Canelo, I will beat a lot of people," he declared. In the boxing world, one thing is certain: if you call someone out, you're going to get a response. And that's exactly what happened. While Anthony Joshua didn't directly respond, we did get an update from his promoter, Eddie Hearn.
Ask you a question because the world of media went mental this morning. Anthony Joshua against Jake Paul. Please put this to bed or light the fire. What's going on?
I mean, sorry. This is the first time I've spoken about the fight. To be honest, like, I look at it and I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'll do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean?
In an interview, Hearn addressed the situation, saying, "To be honest, this is the first time I've spoken about the fight."
AJ would fight Jake Paul. He'd fight anyone, to be honest with you. And if Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. But, you know, the only thing that was disappointing was he says 2026. I mean, that's like calling someone out. That's like me saying, you know, LA Olympics.
He initially brushed off the idea, saying, "Jake Paul against Andy Joe. I mean, look, for me, we'd do it for the banter. You know what I mean?" But he quickly made it clear that Joshua wouldn't back down from the challenge. AJ would fight Jake Paul. He'd fight anyone, to be honest with you. And if Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. However, Hearn took issue with Paul's timeline. The only thing that was disappointing was he says 2026, he pointed out. I mean, that's like calling someone out and saying, "Yeah, I'll see you at the LA Olympics for surfing in 2028. Do it in 2025 if you really want to do it. You're not going to get much better at this stage."
Those two have spoken. I spoke to AJ this morning. He went, "Listen, of course, I'd fight." I mean, you know, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight Jake Paul? And there was...
I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him.
Yeah. But he might do it. He might just do it for, you know, just for doing it, for the sake of it. But obviously we know. Listen, Jake creates massive events, right? You know that's going to create like unbelievable viewership, and no disrespect to Jake Paul, it's a straightforward night's work. But, you know, I like this calling out of Canelo and all this. AJ it's another challenge up there. But, you know, if they're game, why not?
What did he say, AJ, to you about it?
He said, "Why not?" I said, "What do you want me to say when I'm asked about it?" And he said, "Tell everyone I'll fight anyone."
According to Hearn, Joshua himself is open to the fight. I spoke to AJ this morning. He went, listen, of course I'd fight. I mean, if you ask him, would you fight Jake Paul? The answer is, I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him. While acknowledging that Paul generates massive events and viewership, Hearn made it clear that the fight would be a straightforward affair. No disrespect to Jake Paul, but it's a straightforward night's work, he said. Still, he admitted that Paul's callouts, including Canelo and now Joshua, add another layer of intrigue. When asked how Joshua himself felt about it, Hearn relayed his response. He said, "Tell everyone I'll fight anyone, anytime. It's not a problem for me." From Anthony Joshua's post and Jake Paul's Instagram story, it looks like their fight is set for 2026. The exchange between them, with AJ tagging Jake and hinting at something big, all but confirms that this showdown is in the works. It's no secret that Jake Paul has been struggling to secure big fights recently. His potential bout with Canelo Alvarez.
Do you have a call out in mind? Or are you kind of just gonna see where it takes?
No, I mean, I do. It's Canelo. This moment will prove that I'm the face of boxing, the largest attraction. Me versus Canelo at 200 pounds for the cruiserweight championship is the biggest fight, arguably even bigger than me versus Tyson, and it
fell through after he received a lucrative 4-fight deal from Saudi Arabia. But even if that offer hadn't come through, it's unlikely the fight would have happened.
Hey guys, don't pay attention in anything. In this fucking YouTuber, I just fight real fighters. Don't fucking around with Canelo. Come on, let's go.
Canelo has been vocal about his stance on YouTubers turned boxers, making it clear that he doesn't take them seriously. He dismissed the idea of ever fighting Jake, stating, "Hey guys, don't pay attention to anything in this YouTuber. I just fight real fighters. I'm fussing around. Come on, let's go." For Canelo, the boxing ring isn't a playground for social media stars looking to prove a point. It's a place for real, seasoned fighters. And judging by his words, he has no intention of entertaining a match with Jake Paul. Jake Paul obviously didn't take the situation well, especially after previously providing solid proof that a contract had been signed. Feeling snubbed, he took to his podcast B/with Jake Paul once again to air his frustrations, calling out Canelo for what he sees as blatant avoidance. In his rant, Jake didn't hold back, criticizing Canelo's choice of opponents and comparing boxing's lack of mandatory matchups to the UFC's structure. This is where a lot of people think I hate the UFC because of the beef with Dana White, but this is where I respect it. The champions and the best people have to fight each other. They're forced to fight each other. I think that's the problem with boxing, he said. He then turned his attention back to Canelo, doubling down on his claim that the boxing legend is avoiding real challenges. And now he's fighting, first of all, some random ass fighting plumbers and random ass guys, and then Crawford. Obviously Crawford's amazing, but he's coming up from 2 weight classes, 30 pounds, 20-pound difference. He added, "For Jake, it's clear. He believes Canelo is picking easier fights instead of taking on real threats. And in his eyes, that includes him."
You called out Canelo in the ring. Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down.
Gervonta,
I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
Canelo isn't the only one Jake Paul has his eyes on. Gervonta Davis is also in the mix. After Jake's bold call out of Canelo in the ring, Davis wasted no time firing back. The undefeated champion took to social media, posting that he would beat the brakes off Jake if they ever fought. Jake, never one to back down, responded with confidence. "Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super, super down," he said. The interviewer then chimed in, stating, "Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear." Logically, boasting Jake ego more. And of course, Jake couldn't resist taking a jab at their size difference, joking, "Is there a height limit in boxing?" But this fight didn't end up happening, at least not yet. Instead, Davis is now set to fight Lamont Roach again, putting any potential showdown with Jake Paul on hold.
Nigerian driller.
Jake Paul or KSI?
Jake Paul.
Coming Coming back to Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul, would that ever really happen? Well, we just stumbled upon a clip of Anthony playing a game of this or that, where he clearly picked Jake Paul over KSI. So, is there a possibility for this fight to happen? The chances might not be high, but they aren't completely out of the question. If this fight were to happen, the size and experience difference would be the biggest factors. Anthony Joshua is a two-time heavyweight champion, standing at 6 feet 6 inches with a reach advantage that has helped him dominate in the ring. He has fought and beaten some of the best heavyweights in the world, including Vladimir Klitschko and Andy Ruiz Jr.
Ruiz, and then a left hand from Joshua, but a nice in between being in camp and getting right back in after he got this fight. And there he goes down from Anthony Joshua. Ruiz back on. Joshua, huge right hand.
His power, technical ability, and composure under pressure are all at a completely different level compared to what Jake Paul has faced so far. On the other hand, Jake Paul has built a name for himself by taking on former MMA fighters and smaller opponents. He has faced the likes of Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, Anderson Silva, and Nate Diaz, none of whom were professional boxers in their prime. While he has proven he can box, taking on someone like Joshua would be an entirely different challenge. Joshua's jab alone could keep Jake at bay, and if he decides to go on the attack, his knockout power would be something Jake has never experienced before.
Oh, wow.
Tyson's final victory. But let's not forget the highly anticipated fight with the legendary Mike Tyson, a bout that was supposed to be Jake Paul's biggest test yet. However, with Tyson being 57 years old and far removed from his prime, the matchup was more of a spectacle than a serious boxing challenge. Facing Anthony Joshua, a top-tier heavyweight still active in the sport, would be an entirely different beast.
Jake Paul's about to fight Mike Tyson, isn't he?
Yes, boxing fanatics, they don't like it because it's like, why are they disrespecting our sport? There's an Olympic system, whereas someone with a profile can just come out of nowhere and fight one of the best guys. The only thing I'm worried about is Father Time. That's one thing that has never been beat. And Tyson's, he's older now. But I pray that he comes out healthy.
However, at the time he was seen weighing in on the fight, predicting Jake's win. The only thing I'm worried about is Father Time. Joshua said that's one thing that has never been beaten. Tyson's older now, but I pray he comes out healthy. I think Jake Paul has the edge with youth on his side. Joshua's prediction highlighted why many believed Jake had a real shot at beating the legendary Tyson. And now, as Jake steps into the ring against Joshua himself, the question remains, if he could take down an icon like Tyson, what happens when he faces a prime, active heavyweight? The only way Jake Paul could have a real chance against Anthony Joshua is if he uses his movement and unorthodox style to disrupt Joshua's rhythm. He would need to stay on the outside, constantly circling and making it difficult for Joshua to set his feet and unleash his devastating power shots.
Private school Perry, time to go back to school. Get W at Walmart.
Staying elusive, picking his moments, and forcing Joshua into later rounds where fatigue might play a role could be his best bet. However, even with a smart game plan, Joshua's experience, superior technique, and ability to make adjustments mid-fight would make it extremely tough for Jake to pull off an upset. Another major factor to consider is the entertainment side of things. If there's one thing Jake Paul excels at, it's generating hype and drawing massive attention to his fights. A matchup with Joshua would be a blockbuster event, pulling in millions of viewers and dominating headlines in both boxing and mainstream media. But the real question is, would it be competitive? Realistically, Joshua would enter as the overwhelming favorite, and if he chooses to press forward aggressively from the opening bell, the fight could end quickly. His power, precision, and experience against top-tier heavyweights would be a mountain too steep for Jake to climb.
Judge David Yakubuchi sees the contest 80-72, while judges Lawrence Cole and Jesse Reyes see it 79-73. Declaring your winner by unanimous decision, Jake El Gallo Paul!
On the the other hand, Paul has defied expectations before. Many doubted him when he stepped into the ring with former MMA champions, yet he walked away victorious. While none of those opponents had Joshua's boxing pedigree, Jake has shown an ability to improve and learn from each fight. His training, discipline, and willingness to take on bigger challenges suggest that he won't step into the ring unprepared. If he can withstand Joshua's early onslaught and make it an ugly fight, he might at least survive longer than people expect. At the end of the day, while it's fun to speculate, the chances of this fight happening and being a truly competitive contest are slim. But if there's one thing Jake Paul has proven time and time again, it's that he thrives in making the impossible seem possible. Whether that would be enough against someone of Joshua's caliber is an entirely different story. What do you think? Does Jake Paul have a real shot, or would Joshua make quick work of him? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.